2016. Today's our first of 3 panels we've got planned for Amtgard Leadership University. And this one's all going to be about new players, or as I like to call them, novice players. Talking to the individuals, the 4 in front of you have all been playing it less than a year. What we're going to do is just ask each of the panel members to introduce themselves. So it's just a little bit about exactly how long you've been playing, where you play at, and if there's anything that's dying to say in front of the camera, now's the opportunity, and then we'll stir into the conversation. So without further ado, Monomi?
My name is Monomi. I'm from Gargoyles Gate. That's in Hampton, Virginia. I've been playing for 11 months now. I'm done.
I'm Alea Ravenor, and I've been playing since February. I play at the Freehold of Forgotten Forest in Farmville, Virginia.
I'm Arden, and I play at Bandit Flats East in Dover, Delaware, and I've been playing since August.
My name is Wudan, and I play at, I'm one of the founders of the Freehold of Monomi, just outside of Quantico in Virginia. I've actually been playing about 18 months.
Okay. Well, first off, thank you all for taking the time to spend a little bit of your event with us on this nice, brisk morning. It looks like we got a good number of attendees here. So we're not going to spend a whole lot of time with much more lead in. So let's just talk about it. First couple rounds of questions are going to go to everybody because we want everybody's perspective. And then based off of that, I'll probably we'll bounce around a little bit and see where the conversation takes us, okay? So we'll start. Monomi, how'd you find out about Amtgard?
I found out about Amtgard through my friend Drew, which his game name is Hobie. And then I came to Amtgard. My first day was in February, and I came to hang out with Hobie and Kenshin. And it was like snowing, and it just wasn't a good day. And they were like, "You probably aren't going to come back." And I was like, "No, I think I'm going to come. I think I'm going to come back." And then, like, after that day, I came to Amtgard, like, almost every weekend. And then I went to, like, 6 events last year.
Wow, cool.
I was injured really badly and took a semester off from school. And my dad had seen the park, Barony of the Locks in Chesapeake, Virginia. And he started telling me, like, hey, you should go out here, and he actually, like, tricked me into going out one time, and I talked to him and joined up immediately and fell in love with it.
Cool. Arden?
I actually had never heard of it until they had a Comic-Con at our local public library in Dover, and I saw them out there. I didn't go out, but, like, the next following day, I went out and, like, went to see what they were all about, because it's always something I'd been interested in. But, you know, and I've been out like every week since. So, I mean, it's like been really awesome.
Okay. Wudan?
I found out through Meetup. So I absolutely love the Meetup. I basically moved into Northern Virginia and did a bunch of Google searches on things. And one of them I happened to do was boffing because I was a part of the 501st and we like to fight with lightsabers. So I searched for boffing and the only thing that came up was Amtgard. I was like, oh, this looks pretty neat. I show up. By my second week, I'm like, I could have been doing this for 5 years because there's a local park where I used to live and I had no idea it existed.
Okay. Arden, do you interact with Amtgarders outside of the park?
Oh yeah, definitely, absolutely. Like there's a couple people, like local people that I talk to and like meet up and, you know, hang out, play video games, you know, play stuff like that. And we like talk throughout the week about different stuff that's going on with our lives and stuff. We definitely interact, and people from outside of my park as well.
Okay. Lee?
Definitely. Most of my good friends are now all Amtgarders, and I brought a park and started a freehold up near my college and got a ton of my friends that were non-Amtgarders into Amtgard. And so they kind of became my Amtgard family there, too.
I would say definitely. All of my best friends are in Amtgard. And I hang out with them probably, like, almost 3 to 4 times a week, and I used to live with 2 of them actually, but now I live in Richmond, and I'm not going to get to play Amtgard as much, which is kind of scary, but I'm excited.
Okay, good. Wudan?
Amtgard has consumed my soul. I equate it, for me at least, like there's a meme that's been going around that says, I thought this would just be a casual hobby, but, why not just take everything? And that's kind of how it's been. Now, granted, I have a child who's 5 years old, I'm in my 30s, I'm in the middle of a career, so basically I have work, I have my family, and then the few hours I have, I love to give to Amtgard.
Great. Great. Especially, like you said, you're helping start up a freehold, so I know that can be pretty time consuming. So, again, I apologize for butchering your name. Alea?
Alea.
Alea. Alea, and you said your dad found it. Was he an Amtgarder?
No, my dad, he's a Virginia Marine Fisheries police officer, and he was working at one of the parks and saw them and kept seeing them and was like, hey, they're out there every Sunday. You should definitely go out there.
Good. Interesting. And now, Monomi, I know you had said you had some friends and some loose contacts and things like that were playing. So aside from the friend relationship or whatever brought you in, why do you continue to play? Wudan, how come you're letting it take up so much of your free time?
I got in because of the martial arts. I have been involved in the martial arts since I was 11 years old. I'm now in my mid-30s. And there's this thing where, it's not safe to hit people with sharp swords. So there was no real way to spar in the martial arts with weapons. And what basically had happened is I had a bunch of friends who were in the 501st, which is the Rebel Legion. They like to dress up in Star Wars for charity. And then we started doing some fighting. And then I was like, well, this is great. I want to keep doing it after I move. What's in the area? And that's what brought me in, was the martial arts. It was the combat aspect. But the other side of the equation that I really like to stress, especially to new folks as they come into my park, it's the safety. I had a lot of friends who were also involved with the SCA, but because they allow strikes to the head and I have a traumatic brain injury, I have a health issue that prevents me from going onto the field. So that ability between our safety and the camaraderie and the martial arts is really why I like the game.
Cool. Arden, how about you? Why do you come back?
I'm a big fan of the class game system. I love taking on a role and just really diving into the magic system. That and I get to make cool stuff that I get to use out here. I mean, that's really fun to me. Just stuff that you wouldn't normally get a chance to use. It looks cool, but there's not much practical use for a great sword out in the corporate world.
Fair enough. Alea?
I keep coming back because, for one, it's a really great physical activity to do. I've actually lost 100 pounds doing it in the less than a year I've been playing. But besides that, it's really the camaraderie and everything. I've made some really great friends, and it's just been a really great overall experience and such. And I was actually going out to park just to hang out with people 5 times a week, so.
Monomi, I'm going to change the question up on you a little bit because you're moving. So what are you going to be missing so much about it?
Amtgard kind of feels like a family to me, so I feel like I'm going to miss seeing everybody every week. And as she said, it's a really good activity, so I feel like I'm going to be missing that as well. And I also just feel like I'm just going to miss having so much fun because it makes my week going out to Amtgard.
Cool. Arden, what's your favorite class? Why?
Yule, definitely. That's the only thing I put any credits in.
Okay.
It's just, that's really, so any game I play is a priest or a cleric or something of that nature. I just I like the flavor behind it. It's really what fits my personality well.
Okay. Monomi, favorite class?
Right now it's monk because I built my own pole arm and I've been playing with that every week. But I do like healer, but I don't play it as much as I should because I feel like some games when I play healer, I feel like I'm not necessary.
Okay. Alea?
Barbar. I like to fight hard, and it's my favorite class. I built my persona up, and barbar.
Wudan?
Monk. I got involved, like I said, for the martial arts, and I love staff fighting. So I looked through the different classes and said, okay, I love pole. Monk seems to be a good class to go with it, and I hate armor. So Monk seemed a good fit, and I absolutely love it.
Okay. Monomi, I know you said you've got a lot of your best friends and stuff play Amtgard. Do you have any mentors in the game?
Ooh, that's a good one. I have a lot of mentors in this game. I would say Richie, well, his game name is Lord Nimruin. He's my squire. I would definitely say he's one of my mentors. I would also say that Promethea is one of my mentors. And probably Hobie. Like, he's helped me a lot in this game. When I became monarch of our park for the last bit of the last reign, he helped me with that, like, more than anything.
Cool. Okay. Wudan, how about you? Any mentors in the game?
Can I just say the Kingdom of Crystal Groves as a blank statement?
If you like to,
I mean, pretty much. It's the whole kingdom has been tremendously helpful. Everyone in any form of leadership has really been a mentor to me. Specifically by name, Dor, Jax, and Mono.
Those are good mentors. Alea?
Well, definitely my squire, Emilith, Jax, pretty much, like he was saying, Kingdom of Crystal Groves in general, like, they've been so helpful. Like, Kitty has helped supply weapons to my park and such. And then there are people like Hobie and Docs that have helped with my fighting skills and everything. It's everyone really comes together to really help each other out.
Arden?
Definitely Relic, my squire. He gives me a lot of advice especially because he's local and I can talk to him pretty easily. I would also say Kelwin is also, like, she visits a lot, and I've seen her at events and stuff, and she always has a lot of good advice about, like, making things and, like, how to, like, act, like, in the right way, even though I don't get to see her that often, and so, yeah, both of those people are very, informed, like, very well informed and good at, like, giving good advice.
So I'm picking up on a theme here, because we've got multiple officers that are either current or former. Each one of you, I think we said 18 months is the longest duration that any of you have played. First off, thank you for jumping in with both feet, honestly. Obviously, it's been recognized. I know a few of you have already said that you have a squire, so pages, men-at-arms, and then sitting as officers. So first off, thank you, each of you that have stepped up to do that. Arden, what did you look for whenever you were looking for willing to accept a belt or take that next step beyond just enjoying playing healer?
Honestly, it was just like, do I respect the person? Do I think that they are going to, like, give me good advice moving forward? And do I think that they have, like, good standing? Like, they're not, like, just a total waste of energy, to talk to, and that they, people actually looked up to them for advice and stuff, and people were going to, look at me in a good light for being associated with them. Like, not that really matters for, like, I think less of them for what other people think, but, like, obviously if a whole populace of somewhere doesn't like somebody, then there's probably a good reason. So, but yeah, that's the main thing to look toward, just like, quality of character.
Monomi, you mentioned that you've already served as monarch. I don't think you're sitting as monarch now, are you?
No.
So, holy smokes, 6 months out of your last year have been served in office. What made you want to jump in and be a leader in the game?
Well, it was actually only like 3 months out of my last year, because the current monarch of our park, she had to step down for family reasons. And I talked to Hobie about it, and I talked to Kenshin about it, and a lot of the people at my park who had, like, been in monarchy before, and they were like, it would probably be good for you. You get to step up, you get to help out with the park, you can make new friends, you can meet new people, and honestly, it was just good to, like, be a part of something and to lead something.
Any highlights?
Ooh. I would have to say, my coronation. That was a good, not my coronation, the coronation of the next monarch. That was my favorite. I had got a bunch of people from the northern part of the kingdom to come down to our park. It was raining, but it was like a really, really good time. Everybody was, like, under the canopy, and we got to eat food and hang out, and we were doing a canned food drive at the time, so everybody in my company, we put our tuna cans together and made a hook out of it, and we sent it to the food bank, the picture, and then we ended up on like the food bank's Facebook page, so that was pretty cool.
And what's your company?
Dark Water.
Wudan, how about you? Any highlights of the last 18 months?
There's been a lot of great moments on the field. I mean, I could even pull from yesterday in that mud. It was a lot of fun. I think I'll start with the first highlight that got me hooked, which was we had Olympiad here at Feast of Dead about a year and a half ago. And I got really frustrated because I got into the ditch field and let's just say I got hit below the belt a couple too many times and stormed off. And Dor came to talk to me and said, look, I think you should stick for the tournament. It's going to be a lot different feel. I think you'll really like it. So I did, and as folks know, it was a random draw. So in the opening match, I was, for Florentine, I was up against Sir Tato. And I was like, okay, I'm going up against the legend. Already I'd heard, the stories of this incredibly awesome fighter, and he's an incredibly awesome person. Especially getting to know him afterwards. And basically, what happened was, in the round, I was able to block a couple of his shots. He told me afterwards he was just trying to bait me, but the fact that I blocked him at Olympiad was huge for me.
Cool. ALU, what was it like with not having a lot of Amtgard background, obviously, coming out to park your first time?
Interesting. They basically talked to me. We went through like the rule book and such, and they showed me the classes, and I wanted to play Barbar. And they handed me a sword, and we went out on field, and we just started fighting. They kind of explained the rules as we were going on, and we were playing Kill Your Killer, and I was actually doing pretty well, and it was a blast. I immediately fell in love with it, and it was really funny. One of my favorite moments about that was that one of my friends from that park immediately after fighting went, and yeah, you're a barbar. So it was really fun, and it definitely is what made me like come back and keep coming back, was that moment. Everyone was so welcoming. Like the camaraderie was just amazing.
Arden, how about you? Any highlights or memories, especially from like the first couple of times playing?
The first the first time I was out, it was like right after the con, and it was, very daunting because like I didn't know where it was exactly. I knew where the park was, but I'd never been out there, and it was like everybody knew each other already. So, but they were like super welcoming about everything. They're like, everybody at Amtgard is loves that you're out, and they want to keep you coming out. So they're very, please don't leave. But definitely one of the highlights would be like my first event, which was this year's FOD. So, I mean, that was like just seeing regular park on such a grand scale, and like everybody, all the great garb and all the great fighting and everything, and just like the shenanigans that went on. It was awesome.
Cool. So, Monomi, I know there's some challenges and stuff like that coming forward as far as you going out to Richmond, but so where do you see yourself in 5 years? Do you think you're going to start a park out there? Move to somewhere else where there's a park? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I've thought about starting a park, but I don't think that would be happening anytime soon because I want to make sure that I'm able to live out there and do well in school. But I like that Richmond is kind of in like the top part of Virginia, so it's really close to RSS and it's close to Forgotten Forest, and it's only an hour away from home, so I can go back to my home park, and I just feel like in the middle of everything there. So I'll probably just go to a bunch of different parks and travel and meet new people.
Great. Wudan, how about you? Got any goals, or where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I guess my general plan is my first aspiration is to reach Paragon Monk, and hopefully I'll be able to do that within a couple more years. And then beyond that, I'm kind of working at the pace of about one higher level of order per year on my way to knighthood. So I'll probably be about a fifth order or so by then.
Okay. Arden, how about yourself? Plans, goals?
Yeah, I'm looking at running into like some of the like lower tier monarchy positions for my local park. So like, I'm running for like prime minister this next upcoming reign. So that'll get my feet wet in the kind of the leadership positions. And I'd just like to keep moving forward, like learning my class and stuff, and eventually get 6th level healer and get Paragon, hopefully.
Great. So a couple of you are pretty diehard on some classes. Somebody up there seems like Barbarian an awful lot. Other than Barbarian, what class would you recommend to new players? There is no other class.
No, actually, that's actually really funny. When I started my freehold, I was very trying to not you should play Barbar. And we got a couple people that chose different things and such. And then I took field as Barbar. And my first fight after death changed so many people's minds, and they all switched to Barbar. And it was literally like I had a little mini barbarian army because we had 30 barbars at one point.
Wow.
Yeah. It was fun.
Monomi?
Other than Monk? Because Monk's really easy for me because you can block spell balls at higher level and you can ignore some kinds of magic. So I would say that's easiest, but Warrior would probably be easy, especially if you just like to get out there and hit people.
Arden, how about you? Any tips for picking your first class?
I would not go the route of going easier is better. I think the more involved it is, that's what's going to get you into the game. So I'm all about the magic classes. That's my favorite thing about the game, honestly. So healer, wizard, bard, druid. Go something, go big or go home. I mean, this is a fantasy game after all. So I mean, that's what I really like about it. You can do so much with the spell list and everything.
Wudan, what do you advise new players at your part?
Yeah, when I was at Rising Sun Station, there was a good playful joking back and forth with me and Jax, because when a new player came onto the field, I said, you should play Monk. And Monk has that stereotype of being the new player class. And he'd always yell, no. But nowadays, especially as I've looked at more and more at the classes, I really ask what they want to play. What do they like about Dungeons & Dragons? What do they like about World of Warcraft? What do they want to contribute to a group? And then from that, select the class, because one of the beautiful things about V8 is they're all easy to pick up. Yeah, the magic takes a little bit more work, but if you give someone a simple spell list of a sword and one spell, then they can play healer. It's not hard. So I think it's more important to figure out what they want to do rather than what class I should recommend.
Okay. So, and this question will come around to all four of you, but we'll start with Arden. What's one thing that you think all monarchs and all parks need to consider if they want to encourage new players to come out or to come back?
Just get your name out there, doing the local cons and going out and doing volunteer work and, just being a better example, this is what we're doing out here. You should keep coming out. We're cool people. We have swords.
Okay. Alea?
I think an important thing is balance between class games and ditch, A&S, etc. That way the people that do just A&S and such don't feel left out, but the people that like to just fighty wax have their ditching and class for magic and such. So that everyone there's a happy balance between what everyone likes and really feeling out the players at the park and seeing what they like to do and such. Because if someone's not having fun, you really need to try and help fix that so that they do keep coming out.
Okay. Monomi?
I'd probably say just making sure everyone's having fun, making sure no one feels left out, and garb, actually. If you have people out there that aren't in garb, they kind of just look like they're running around in jeans and hitting people, so other people will think that you look weird, and I don't know. Garb's really important. You should try to encourage your players to wear good garb.
Arden, is garb important?
Yes, I think so. I think it definitely draws people in, like Monomi was saying. You see people and they're they have like a resplendent soft coat and these beautiful boots and everything, and have all the plastidip weapons and stuff, and that I know that's not really garb, but it's all part of the same thing. I personally, if I could wear garb every day, I would. I have more than I could wear for the whole weekend. So, but yeah, I definitely think it's part of the added immersion level, and that it's just makes the game more. I think it makes it more fun, honestly.
Alea, you were nodding your head there. You agree?
Yes, definitely. I think it definitely adds to the immersion and such, but it really does kind of draw people's attention too. So it's at the college that we play at, it's really drawn people to our field and been like, hey, what are y'all doing? And it gets them interested. And we have a lot of loner garb and stuff too for that reason, because it really helps new players out if they have something that they can wear and join in the fun, because I think it really makes them feel a part of the group. And if they're new and they don't have garb or the means to get garb and such, having that loner garb there really helps them to not feel left out.
Wudan, I see you on Facebook an awful lot. Some mainstream conversations, things like that. How important do you see is the Facebook dialogue to Amtgard?
I think it's extremely important. Due to my age, let's just say I remember the noisy modem. And I've gone through the transitions of being on forums to Facebook. So for the vanguard out there, I'll be honest, I don't do forums anymore. I don't do ESAM unless I have to. And there is a lot of value to ESAM. But the bottom line is this generation isn't on forums anymore. They're on Facebook. And even then, folks, the new wave, because I'm also a high school teacher, none of the generation coming up, those 14 plus, are on Facebook. They're on Twitter. So Twitter, Tumblr, all those different, pictograms, stuff, that's the real future, because they're the age coming up.
Monomi, I think you're the youngest at the table. You agree with that? Is that where you get your information from now? Or you want to communicate with other Amtgarders?
I'm still on Facebook. I have a Twitter, but I only use my Twitter to look at celebrity Twitters, and bands that I like, because they always post things on Twitter, on tour and stuff. Tumblr is really good, I think, for showing off your skills, because you can post pictures of the garb that you're wearing or the weapons you've made, or you can post videos of people fighting at your park. But you can also do that on Facebook and Twitter. But I definitely agree that forums are kind of a thing of the past. I knew what a forum was, but I didn't even know Amtgard had forums until a couple months ago, when they were like, oh, everybody used to be on the forums, and I was like, all right.
And just like that, I feel ancient. Thank you.
That's why I sympathize, because like I said, I came from the forum environment. I remember regular phones on cords and all that good stuff.
But, we can agree, communication's important, right?
Absolutely.
We've got to keep up the dialogue. How much face-to-face communication do you see about topics from, talking about the upcoming events or trends and any of the activity that's going on Facebook? How much face-to-face do you see done at the park level anymore, Arden?
Like I said, I see a bunch of people out at my park.
I'm trying to figure out if Facebook is a crutch, is where I'm going.
I would say no. From what I've seen, even at just the local park level, most of our monarchy and most of our very active players get together, they hang out, they talk about things that are going on in the local Amtgard stuff, and then they talk about events that are going to hey, you're going to this event, they are very vocal about it, at least over my way. And even at the kingdom level, I know there are people that are from different parks and stuff, and they get together and see each other just from my small circle of people that I know outside of my area.
Okay, Alea?
I would agree. I don't think Facebook is that much of a crutch, because I'll have even people from other parks and such in the kingdom come and be like, hey, we're doing this event. You should definitely make your way out. And we at my park really organize and try and be like, all right, we're going to do a carpool to this park on this day because they're having a coronation, who wants to join in and such. Even with like just smaller conversations and such that people get involved in on like the Facebooks and such, people will be like, hey, did you hear about this topic being brought up? Like, can we like talk about it real quick and such? So it's really good, and I've been really surprised at that too, because my park, I'm the only veteran and I've been in it for less than a year. And so they've actually really gotten involved in everything that has to do with Amtgard and such. A lot of them are on the Facebooks and such and bring that information back to the park.
Okay, thank you. Monomi, you've got a magic wand. You can fix anything about Amtgard. What would you fix? What needs fixing?
All right.
She's settling.
The things that need to be fixed about Amtgard
Sure.
are how some guys in Amtgard look at females in Amtgard.
Yes.
That's one thing. I'm not even going to get into that because we could go on about that forever.
Give me a couple of minutes on it, though. Okay, we talked about being inclusive. We want to make sure that everybody feels welcome, right? New players, we all agreed that was important. So, without hating or throwing anything at me, well, just dig into that just a little bit for me.
And I'm definitely not saying that all guys in Amtgard do this by any means, but a lot of guys in Amtgard just act like girls are just there to sit on their blanket and watch them fight or go do ANS. And there's nothing wrong with only wanting to do ANS because that's what you want to do. But don't make anybody feel bad that they just want to do ANS or they just want to watch their friends fight.
And it's not a gender issue. It's a what they want to do issue.
Yeah. And another thing is a lot of guys feel like this is a place where you can meet girls and take them home, and like, no, that's not why I'm in Amtgard. I'm in Amtgard to have fun, make friends, volunteer, help out. I like meeting other people. I like meeting guys. I like meeting girls. I think it needs to be about friendship and camaraderie instead of romance.
Well said. Anybody else want to add to that?
Well,
Oh, sorry.
Well, I think the female aspect is very important, and I'll jump in that too of the cliques. Stick jock culture can be great. I grew up in the military, especially, so there's a lot of value there. But you have to realize that if you don't pay attention to who's around you, then you're going to start losing people, because especially cliques, they tend to tighten around a group, and then people can't come in. And I feel like there's this general feeling as well as Amtgard has become a bit of a clique when it regards to female, and females can fight better than I can. I mean, that's just throw that right out there. Your gender has nothing to do with your skill. It has nothing to do with how good you are and all this stuff. And so if you keep these ideas, these pre-ideas in your head, it's just going to hurt the game rather than help it if you make assumptions.
Okay. Alea, you wanted to add to that?
yeah, like Monomi said, it's not all the guys and such, but like especially in tournaments is where I see the worst at. I've gotten comments like, oh, you're going to lose because you're a girl and such. So it's really detrimental, I think, to the game in itself, because it does push people away. And I know of other girls that have come out to park that get pushed away because of it and don't want to come back because of comments and such like that at tournaments and such especially.
Can I say one more thing?
You bet.
Another thing, I went to Keep this past year, and there was a lot of stick jocks there, and most of them were really awesome, and I got to meet a lot of sword knights, and I feel like cliques are definitely a thing, but if you're just nice to everybody and you don't, like, if you're nice to everybody and you don't come off like you're trying too hard, then you can find people to hang out with in Amtgard. Nobody's gonna turn you away.
So I derailed you there with your magic wand and what you're going to fix. So first thing we fixed was the gender issue. What else was on your mind?
another thing for me is like I don't know. I feel like I should probably not say that. I feel like Amtgard is a place for like older people. Not really old people or anything, but like
So I get to stay a little bit longer.
I feel like Amtgard is a place for people like over 17. I'm just gonna put it like that. I know there are
Okay.
people. I know there are people definitely younger that play, but I feel like it kind of messes up the game sometimes when people bring their kids out, and it's hard for me to feel comfortable playing with like little kids around, because I don't want to hurt anyone's kid by accident, and I don't want to say anything that kid could hear and then they go say that to someone else, because I kind of don't have a filter sometimes in Amtgard, and I feel bad about it because I probably should have a filter, but that's just one thing I might change.
So that's the challenge, right? I mean, how do you family friendly, not family friendly, and then used to not have a family, all of a sudden then I have a family in Amtgard and I've got children. Well, I don't want to stop playing Amtgard, and babysitters are expensive. So that's the balance we all have to deal with, right? It's a constant juggle at the parks.
Yeah.
And then how do you be inclusive, but not you because of XYZ. So
I think
that's
if
a
we
good point.
are going to be family friendly, I think people need to really make sure the kidocrats at all the events and stuff are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and kids aren't like running around and going onto ditch fields or going into tournaments and stuff like that. But I feel like we need to pay more attention to kidocrats sometimes.
Okay. Or in general, a lot of parks don't use kidocrats, or a lot of events don't have kidocrats at all.
They're
and
extremely rare.
They just focus on parents handle your house kind of deal. So we're not going to go down that conversation, but we are going to keep the magic wand and we're going to fix issues at Amtgard. So Arden, magic wand, it's yours. What are you going to fix at Amtgard?
Honestly, like a lot of like the infrastructure and everything is like really good. I think that a lot of that is really well done. Like I think the main thing I would say is like kind of goes back to what like Monomi said is that excuse me, is that just the way like we are to like against each other, like we get at each other's throats, because you get a big group of people together and there's bound to be disagreements on philosophies and like how this should be run and how this should be said. Now this should be worded in subsection 3.6b. So I mean, obviously we just like maybe if we could just tone that down a little bit, because like I get tired of like seeing the flame threads on Facebook. It's like 176 comments on like a word changing in the corpora. I mean, it's not that it's not important, but like I think just people need to like learn to rein in their tempers a little bit, because I know people are passionate about stuff, so I get that, but maybe it shouldn't be like done so in a public forum. Like I mean, because people see these long arguments, and that scares people away. I think like I think it was, I don't know, something recent that we had on one of the threads. It might have just been one on the local one with this big long thread about somebody said something about somebody else's class or something. It was ridiculous. And then the people were just like, yeah, I'll come back when you guys are done, acting like children, basically. That's the main thing for me, like just the catty bickering.
Just that reminder sometimes that, hey, that even if it's on Facebook, one, is there forever, and two, it's the public face, because it's not like you and I could disagree in a room and have a good conversation and whatnot, but all of a sudden, Facebook, everybody sees everybody's business.
Exactly.
You need to remember
There's
that.
a reason there's a private chat message.
You bet. Alea?
Maybe to try and like help parks more like with loaner garb and weapons and such, because I know from running a freehold that loaner weapons and such can be more daunting of a task than it really seems at first. I don't have that much experience making weapons. I'm pretty bad at it, actually. So most of my loaner weapons that I built broke very quickly. So maybe like more resources to help new players out and such. Like Bane's tutorial has been absolutely amazing online. But more stuff like that, more like tutorials and such to help new players really get their own equipment and garb and such.
Okay. Wudan, I don't want to miss you on this one, but time's an issue. So
Sure.
Magic wand.
Magic wand, I think it's already been touched on, so I don't really need to talk to it. My biggest issue in the game has been the Game of Thrones drama, as I like to call it. It's definitely been a challenge, the politicking, if you will, which every organization is going to have it, but I think, honestly, Amtgard's probably the worst at it of all the groups I've been in. The second is the kidocrat issue, and I'm on the other end of the fence having a kid, but that has definitely been a problem with my ability to engage in the game. It has been the kidocrat issue.
So just the fact that you're trying to participate in the game, but what do you? I think you said you had a daughter.
Yeah, I have a 5-year-old daughter, so she's obviously way too young to be on the field. But it's fantastic that, at this event here at Yule, we had a kidocrat and she had plenty of people to play with. The big events hasn't been an issue. It's honestly at the local park level where we get into problems because it's just her and like 4 or 5, 10 other people. And that's where it gets hard.
Cool. So time is an issue. As I said, we always like to wrap everything up with one last go around, lightning round down the table. Arden, we'll start with you. First off, thank you all for being here and for spending some time with us. But Arden, any last foot stomps or reminders or anything you wish you had said or something people need to take away from this?
Just I think this was important, like, to like see what the perspective of the new players was, and try and take that knowledge, put it into motion, like with some of the stuff, like, oh, hey, we can do this. This person, that was a good idea. So honestly, it was pleasure. I got most of my thoughts out when you came around, but thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Alea?
Definitely new players and such are a very important role in Amtgard, and I think they're like the next generation of Amtgard and such, so it's important to really see and hear all they have to say, and because they will be what voices are standing up in leadership and such, hopefully. And that's really important to keep that happening and get the recruitment and retention out. So, and thank you for having us.
Wudan?
Embrace your nerd cred. I remember getting
Can
to
you
it.
have nerd cred?
You absolutely can. You stand up with pride in full plate or whatever garb you have and just forget I'm in my 30s, so it's a little bit easier, but eventually, like my students say, when did you get to the point where you just don't care about other people's opinions? And I think that's what nerd cred is to a degree, is when you embrace your passions, when you embrace what you enjoy, which that's what Amtgard is for a lot of people, that's going to draw new people in. And I think the more and more we embrace things like garb, or the fact that, yeah, we're hitting each other with foam pads. Yeah, we're hitting people with foam sticks, and it's a lot of fun. You should try it too. That's what brings in the new people, and I think that's ultimately what keeps the new people.
Okay. Monomi?
That Facebook question, I didn't fully get to answer. I feel like Facebook isn't a crutch. I feel like it's a tool, but I feel like a lot of people are using it the wrong way. As Arden said, a lot of people use it just to bicker and bicker and then just have big long threads about why they don't like this person or why they don't like that class. Or I feel like it's good to get your opinions out, but a lot of people didn't ask for your opinion. The other good thing about Facebook are group chats. Group chats are the best thing in the world. I'm in like 3 or 4 group chats right now, one with Darkwater, one with my Belted family. And it's just good to be able to communicate with everybody quickly. That's why I feel like it's a tool.
Okay. Well, our time is up. I really, truly appreciate you all taking some time out of your event. I think we got a lot out of it. I hope you enjoyed the opportunity. And again, if I could, just a round of applause from everybody in the room. Thanks again for spending some time with us, and have a good rest of the event.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Goldcrest here from Amtgard Leadership University. Thanks for taking the time to watch our video. Please do us a favor, we'd love to hear from you. Go ahead and leave us a note by leaving a comment below. If you'd like to hear about new and upcoming events we've got going on, make sure you hit the subscribe button while you're here as well. Then jump over to Facebook and find us at Amtgard Leadership University, and that way you can keep up to date with our latest releases and the events that we're going to be visiting. Thanks again for watching the video.